e-procurement system gradually, stage by stage. Now, as we speak, we have covered the planning part, the advertising part, the submission part. The submission, meaning the e-document part. The e-signature is pending, some infrastructural issues, but clarification can be sought online, notification online, all the way. And the system itself has various modules. I'll talk about a few which are key. The registration, where procuring entity are signing up in the system. At the moment, PPRA registers all the procuring entity, but suppliers, meaning also contractors and consultants, can sign up themselves in a self-service feature within the system. Within a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, they are done. They are supposed to present their taxpayer identification number, and the system is integrated with the tax revenue authority database for the taxpayer. They can retrieve the information, in which case the system validates that they are taxpayers that are properly registered in the country. They can make payment for the fees, the annual fees, which at the moment is around $13 a year. They can receive the receipt. The payment is done using mobile phone, using M-Pesa, Tigo Pesa, etc. They receive the receipt online, and everything can be completed in a matter of about 10 minutes. We have e-tendering module, which takes care of the procurement process from planning all the way to contract award. We have other modules which are pending. E-catalog module, which is specifically for the medical stores department and government procurement service agents. This is basically for them to post all the catalog items, and all procurement entity can order directly through the system. That is pending some integration. We expect to complete it in a few months' time. The system also have another module for e-contract. This is also pending. And also the e-auction. As I said before, the implementation is to be gradual, because as it is, the system is huge. With e-tendering alone, we carry procurement, we carry training for 6 days. So if we were to train for all the modules, maybe 1.5 or 2 months would be necessary. So as I said, the system has been integrated with other systems. Apart from the taxpayer identification, taxpayer ID number database, we have integrated with the government e-payment gateway, GPG. This is a system which is used by as a gateway for all government collections, and is used by all procuring entities, basically. GPG has been integrated with most of the banks and also all the mobile network operators, which means by TANEPS integrating with GPG, payment, as I said, is enabled for mobile phones, as I said, using M-Pesa, Tigo Pesa, Halo Pesa, etc. We have also integrated with e-commerce solution offered by one of the banks, which basically enables fees to be paid using debit or credit card. We have few other integrations which are pending. Integration with the themes at the ministry, ERPs at medical stores department, and government procurement service agents. These are underway. Once they are completed, is where we can enable the e-catalog module, etc. We also have planned to integrate with BRELA for the purpose of licensing issues, etc. As well as the bank for the purpose of enabling confirmation, bank guarantee confirmation online through the system. In terms of the system itself, it's role-based. There are various roles depending on the entity in question. The key entity is PPRA, procuring entity. Later on, we'll have public procurement appeals authority, attorney general, etc. But basically, if I can enumerate, we have system administrators for the purpose of suppliers, accounting officers for the purpose of concluding the tender in the system, heads of procurement management units, procurement management unit officers, tender coordinators who are managing the procurement at the procuring entity level. We have tender opening staff, evaluation staff, which means the chairman and the tender evaluation committee members. We have the legal officers for the purpose of vetting contract when we enable the e-contract management module. We have supplier users. We have head of compliance office at PPRA for the purpose of managing the annual procurement plan submitted, as well as the compliance officers. Now, this one outlines the various steps in the system. It's a bit complicated. I try to simplify to show you exactly what it takes for the procurement to be executed from the beginning to the end under e-tendering module. This is one of the issues that were raised in the last year East Africa Procurement Forum in Nairobi. People wanted to know how exactly is tender processed on the e-platform. Now, typically, we have procuring entity that need to be registered in TANEPS. We have suppliers that are supposed to register themselves, of course, in TANEPS. We have PPRA here at the beginning of the financial year, initiating the cycle for that particular year, which automatically sends notification to all procuring entities that we are beginning the financial year. Now you have to submit the annual procurement plans. Pili receives the notification and they can download the template for the APP and they can complete the template and submit the APP through the system. PPRA receives the submitted annual procurement plan in the system. They review it to see if it has been prepared consistent with the law. If there are issues, they provide feedback through the system. Otherwise, they approve the APP. Once the APP are approved, automatically they are published in the public domain and everybody can view the APP for the individual procuring entity, and also they can see the consolidated APP. Of course, less the budget, because as we all know, budget need not to be disclosed to the public. After that, then the procuring entity that submitted APP, which has been approved, can now create their tender within the system. They can select the particular tender they want to process the procurement. They can create the tender, they can define the evaluation criteria within the system, they can attach the tender document, they create notice and publish it. Once they publish, the information goes into the public domain again. When you visit the portal, you go under current tender, you can see all the tender that have been published and are underway for tenderers to submit their bids. Suppliers who have been registered in the system can log into the system and immediately they can access all the tender information. They can download the tender document. They can assess themselves whether they are able to participate or not. Once they are satisfied, they are able to submit their bids online. Once they submit their bid online, PE, the procuring entity, can see the number of bids that have been submitted, but they cannot see anything because up until the deadline, all bids are encrypted. At the deadline, the PE can unlock the bids. They can open the bids. And at that stage, that information also goes to the public domain. If you go to the portal and open the bid details, you can see all the bids that have been submitted for a particular tender, who has submitted the bids, and with what bid price. Now, the PE, through the chairman of the evaluation committee that has been assigned, and the tender evaluation committee can evaluate the tender online. Now, if the criteria have been properly set in the system will evaluate the tender and present the score in the system. But again, those members of the team are able to verify and confirm the evaluation that has been done in the system. The head of PMU, after they've finished the evaluation, they submit the report to head of Procurement Management Unit, who reviews the evaluation report and can print the report off the system. At the moment, the tender board is still there in our system, so the head of Procurement Management Unit can submit the report that has been printed off the system to the tender board for approval, and later on he can enter the results back to the system, and the last stage is for the accounting officer to conclude their work. The system. Now this is the URL for the system, tanapsogeo.tz. So you go to that link, you find all the information about the tender, the annual plans that have been submitted, etc. Very few challenge. Number one, maintenance of the system. As you will know, given any new system, you are bound to perform maintenance of the system. And you'll find that during user acceptance test, normally the tests are performed based on some criteria, some scenarios, and the system is not subjected to full stress, if I may say. So when you start the actual operation, you find that there are a lot of corrective maintenance that has to be done in the system, which calls for a proper maintenance agreement with the vendor. We have preventive maintenance that has to be done. They also cost money. This is part of the recurrent maintenance. We also have non-recurrent maintenance. You find that when you start the system, and the experience shows that 50%, more than 50% of the changes to the system results from the feedback that comes from the user. User wants certain features to be implemented in a certain way. Users want new features, maybe to enhance user friendliness of the system, etc. So at the end of the day, you find that you have so many changes to make at the system, especially during the first year of the operation of the system. And we have provided the cost for our preventive maintenance, the routine maintenance, which is around $109,000 per year. But also you have to accommodate some of the changes, some of the maintenance, which is called perfecting maintenance. Maintenance aimed at making the system more perfective. We call it perfective maintenance. So we have estimated around $50,000 to $75,000 a year. So you need to have a proper maintenance arrangement, because such changes to the system are bound to occur. We have challenged in respect to support calls. As I said, at the moment we are focusing on procuring entity. Now procuring entity are able to publish their tender online. What about suppliers, consultants, and contractors? So at the moment, they are doing it at their best effort, because we think this is an opportunity for them. So they have to do whatever it takes to learn how to use the system. And they are doing so. And the trend is good so far, although it brings pressure also to PPRA. We receive more than 300 calls, support calls a day through email and phone calls. So we've set a dedicated support staff to handle all those calls, and some of them are made even at night. So we also have some numbers which we operate 24/7. We also have a challenge in respect to the training. As I said, we have 540 procuring entities to train. And you find that for procuring entity, if you train procurement experts alone, you still continue to receive a lot of calls. So we decided that for each training, they have to come along with their IT officer, because experience shows that you can train for the training of 6 days for procurement expert. An IT officer can be trained maybe in 2 days, and it's done. So we train IT officer, and they've been very instrumental in providing the first level of support at the procuring entity. So basically, that is TANEPS. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Sheila. You went 5 minutes over the 20 minutes we had allocated you, but clearly e-procurement is the way to go. I think I only pick out a few issues of concern, and not really of concern, but for all of us, that e-procurement saves a lot of time. If Mr. Sheila here is able to know by last evening how many procurement entities had already logged in, and even the amount of money involved, I think if we were to have human capacity doing that, then I don't think we would have even gotten to even 10% of that. We realize that TANEPS has come a long way, about 9 years now, from when they started the journey. And for the other countries and entities represented here, if they're thinking of going the e-way, the challenges you raised are a good point for them to consider as they are starting out. Then the other very interesting thing I've picked out is that by December 31st, no TANEPS, no procurement in this country. It will be very interesting for all of us to know what happens come 1st January 2020. And I think the e-tender flows was 13 step, 1 to 13. There was an issue after number 7 on the numbering, but there are steps there 1 to 13 on the e-tender flows. A round of applause again for Mr. Sheila. Kindly, if you have any questions, just pack them up. We'll tackle all that at the plenary session. Our second topic is on global perspectives of EGP implementation. To take us through this, we have Anjani Kumar, a procurement hub coordinator of Tanzania, Malawi, and the World Bank. He has been in Africa for about 10 years, working with the World Bank for countries Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Malawi, and Tanzania. He also worked for 2.5 years in Afghanistan, providing procurement support to government. And before that, he had worked in India for over 20 years in the field of public procurement. He's a mechanical engineer and will speak on the global perspectives of the EGP implementation, which are meant to mean, I'm told it's e-government procurement. A round of applause for Mr. Kumar as he takes the stage. Again, he had been allocated 30 minutes, but we'll give him 20 minutes, plus or minus 3.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Chairman, PPRA Tanzania, all other dignitaries from Tanzania and other countries, and all protocol observed. As said by the chair, I will speak after a very nice, before I start, because I am here in Tanzania for the last 4 years, and I have been involved in this process of implementation of EGP. It's really a very, very big achievement. I think probably it will be one of the rarest countries in the world who has achieved just after implementing in 4-5 months back, rolling out to the 100% Ps. Basically in August, when I was preparing a report, I said that 100 Ps have been using now. And we were thinking maybe next 1 or 2 years, probably all 140 Ps will be using. And only around 15 days back, I was talking to Mary. So Mary, how we are progressing? She said, we have done around 300. What do you say? How can you, 2 months back we were 100 and in 2 months you are saying 300? No, you don't know. We have now instruction that by 31st December, all 540 implementing agency must be using. And this is amazing. This is a remarkable achievement. I think nowhere in the world it has been achieved. So a big applause to everyone, the government of Tanzania and everyone involved in this process. And this is a big lesson for all the other countries representatives who are present here. They have to take lesson from Tanzania in this respect. So I start with that. Here I will be basically not going into nitty-gritty of technicality, but giving a general perspective of what is going around in the world in the field of EGP, and what are the things available for, everyone wants to learn about EGP, what are the tools available, what are the other things available. So we'll be talking broadly on these 4 topics. E-procurement approaches, what are the various approaches the governments are taking in implementation of EGP. E-procurement toolkits, is there anything available which can be helpful to the various categories of stakeholders? E-procurement online training, and then another thing which is related with e-procurement is a global public procurement database. So e-procurement approaches. So these are the mainly 4 approaches which have been used world over. First is the government. I will start with the bottom one, government owned and operated. This is the model which is mostly in many countries, this is the model adopted where the government develops its own either by their own technical people or by hiring someone, and it is owned by the government and operated by the government, like the model in Tanzania, Zambia, Rwanda and various countries, mostly most of the countries of the world. This is generally the model. But things are developing, things are changing and new things are coming. So we have to be now aware of that, what are the new things coming, and then when we are going for the system, we should evaluate which option to, which approach to adopt. Another one that is starting from the top is government managed service. Here, it is a third party develops the system. It is owned and operated by the third party, but services are managed by the government. That means that the help desk, training, etc., these type of things are managed by the government. Of course, data is always owned by the government. The system is owned by the private party, but data in all the 4 cases will always be owned by the government. So that is another model. The third model is a PPP, where the third party, I mean the private sector, normally develops the system, owns the system. But in the long run, after a few years of time, that is finally is handed over to the government. And in the interim, they charge some fee or charge it depending on. The difference between the first and the second, in the first, the system is never transferred to the government finally. It always remains with the third party. But in PPP model, normally the system is transferred. And the new one, which is called SaaS, that is software as a service, or shared service. This is an upcoming thing. And this model, this thing is being used in other applications, but in e-procurement we have to see whether how much it will fit. This is you have to obtain a license of some ready-made product available on a cloud and shared by many countries. So this is fast because it is already developed. You have to just to purchase the license. Can be used by many countries. Data is owned by you, but the system is owned by the developers. The only the advantages here, but the only challenge will be that customization. E-procurement in different countries has different models, different laws, regulations. So the customization is maybe when the countries are moving towards harmonization of procurement procedures, when the SaaS will be very, very useful, very cheap, and readily you can implement AGP. Like in case of Tanzania, it took 9 years starting from the inception stage. Maybe in 1 to 2 year time, we will be able to develop this type of system if we use SaaS, but it is a long way to go. So this is SaaS, license on a subscription basis, usually monthly, annually, centrally hosted in a cloud, accessed via a browser. So these are the benefits, easy to upgrade because it is at one place owned by a company, they can always upgrade new things. Lower upfront cost, it is very cheap as compared to the owning your own EGP system. Quick setup and deployment, accessibility, you can be accessed globally anywhere, and scalability, it can be scaled up. The main difficulty is customization. So we have to weigh and cross. I'm not saying this is good for a particular country or bad for it. You have to now be aware things are developing, things are changing. And when you go for a system, you have to evaluate. You have to hire expert who can evaluate and advise you on the best option. How to make the system model sustainable? So to run the system, there is already Peter told that 109,000 for preventive maintenance, then around 100,000 for other upgrade. So where from the money comes? So one is that central government funds this money. Another is that the contracting authorities, the PEs, they give a subscription. Third is that it is from the economic operator, that the bidders, etc. And fourth, you can have advertisement, etc. on your website to earn money. So these are certain ways of earning the fund so that it can be sustainable. Security is essential. I'm not going into detail. So all of you know that in the e-procurement system, we have to take care of security features. That is very important. Now, this is very important. E-procurement toolkit. So we all want to learn about e-procurement, but many times we feel where to go, how to learn. So now globally, the World Bank has developed a tool which is globally available. Anywhere sitting, any stakeholder can go there and go through this toolkit. I will come again on the learning also, but this toolkit is available, which has, these are the things. The scope is to set off detailed resources for launching their e-procurement project and providing detailed information. So if in a country you want to launch e-procurement system, this toolkit is a good guide. You will find a lot of information there. And even for the sake of knowledge, as a user, as any other stakeholder, this toolkit is still useful. So these are the two main things available there. One is the documentation section. In the documentation section, there are 4 types of main document, which briefly gives you idea about what is e-procurement, etc. What is e-procurement preparation? What are the things required in that? Open contracting data standards, what is that? Public procurement indicators. So if you have to implement EGP, how to measure that, how it is going on from adoption till the advanced stages. So there are some indicators given that is the way you can test it. And then guideline for conducting market. You have to know the market. Knowing the market is very important because that is not only to find the vendor, but even to shape your own requirement. Once you know that this is available in the market, how do you go and purchase your mobile? You do not know already. You go to the market, oh, these are the mobiles, then you select, oh, this will be best for useful for me. So you design your requirement based on what is available in the market. So market survey research is very important from both the point of view. First, that you know where is your vendor, who are your vendors. Second, to shape your own requirement based on what is available in the market. So these are the 4 documentations available to understand the system. And the second part is actually to design your own requirement. So these are 3 aspects in that. E-procurement modules like Mr. Shilatel planning module, evaluation, things like that. So you can select what are the modules you want, then what are the sub-modules, and then once you have identified those modules, the system will list you all the requirements. So you have basically a sort of ready-made specification for which you normally hire a consultant to 6 months in hiring, then 6 months they do a study, and then you have the requirement. If you have a somewhat competent team of ICT with using this tool, offhand you can, in a week or so, you can have a specification. So these were the 4 documents which I just mentioned: e-procurement preparation, OCDS, public procurement indicator, and guideline for the market survey. I'm giving this is actual the website. So there is home, documentation, template requirement, and resources. So documentation are those 4 documentations. You can download the documentation, and they are only 30-40 pages. You can, in 2-3 days, you can go through all these documents. Template requirement, it is in the next slide. And then what are the other resources? These are some of the indicative action plan that in the governance, what are the things like you have to see the laws and regulations. In the adoption, you have to see whatever you are going to implement it first, rolling out. So these are some of the things available on the. I'm just giving the example to understand what are the available things on the website. Overview of EGP models. I'm not going into that. He has already covered in that. There are various EGP modules: e-tendering, e-publication, e-reverse auctions, etc., etc. E-procurement sample of a EGP indicator. So some of the example like percentage of a contract awarded to SMEs. So to know that how in this country SME friendly environment is created, not. So these are the type of like number of contracts awarded divided by total number of to SME divided by total number of public contract. So there are various indicators already provided there. You can use those ready-made indicators to see how you are moving in certain areas. Market research, so invitation template, there are questionnaires, there are market analysis report templates, and then how do you approach to the market. So these things are available. Let me skip this. E-procurement toolkit template requirement overview. So when you go to the template, then you have to select, it is not very clear, you select like e-registration, then you select other sub-modules. When you select, then finally you can have this complete list of requirement. And with also priority, that in this list of requirement, which is of importance, which is less important, which is not important. So you can select, you can design your specification. Now another thing is related with that. One is that this is a toolkit you can go and read, but there is a learning module globally available, Eprocurement online learning. So if you go there, these are the topics covered. Many of the things coming from the toolkit put in a learning module. Okay, so if you go, the contents will be more or less what is there in the toolkit. If you have gone through the toolkit, learning course you can do very quickly and you understand better. So e-procurement preparation, e-procurement basics, advanced e-procurement, and then what is the common structures. So this is online, this is the website. These are all available publicly, this website, eprocurement.elearning.org. Same way like toolkit was publicly available. Courses topics these are the topics which were listed earlier. Now coming to it is not e-procurement but related with e-procurement, global public procurement database. An attempt is being made that the information on public procurement should be available globally for all the countries, around over 200 countries, the database. So what is being done there? What are the gaps? Lack of information. Some country do something on the e-procurement, but other country, just the neighboring country, doesn't know about that. So difficulty to locate country level public procurement information, difficulty to one by as is for a forthcoming research. So these are the gaps for which this initiative has been taken. And the mission objective is, the mission of the GPPD is to facilitate information sharing and growth within the public procurement community. So what is available, what will be available there? So country profile and the documentation. Documentation is the document like laws, regulation, etc. of a particular country, reports, that is available globally at one place. Go to one place, pick any country, you have the laws, regulations, other documents. And country profile is in a format of the text, data available. So for this country, there will be core information available. So their country profile and documentation. How it is being collected? So World Bank has its own database. So it is getting some information from there. Then the desk research mainly going on the website of the different countries, like PPRA website of Tanzania, they go and do desk research. And the third is sending questionnaire to the PPRA of each country or the relevant agency to get the information, and then to cross-validate the information, what is coming from the desk research and what is getting from the PPRA, etc. So like that, the whole data will be developed and put at one place and can be seen by anywhere, by anyone in the world. So these are the features. Country profile is there, country map. So in the country profile you have some particular information regarding public procurement. Country map, you can go to select the just map. You go to a particular country in the map and then you will have the data for that. Comparison of profile. There is a feature that you can compare to country. Like you want to Tanzania, you want to compare with Kenya. So you can go and it will give some of the features that where you stand, whether the other country stands. And document library, what I have already mentioned. So this project started in basically 2018. Data collection through desk research etc. that has been completed. The questionnaires etc. has been sent, but it is halfway. It is planned that by January 2020 this will be launched. So this is the status for the sub-Saharan country. We have received only about 30% of the information, as much we expect. So it's a long way to go, but it's a good effort. There are two phases of questionnaire, phase 1 and phase 2. Once you reply phase 1, then phase 2 questionnaire is sent. So if you see the percentage, it is not coming out here. It is still lacking a lot in that respect. Data, so the same thing is mentioned here. No data details from this country, no phase 1 from this country. These countries are lagging behind in sub-Saharan Africa. That is end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You actually took less than 20 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we realized from the presentation of Mr. Njani Kumar on the 4 critical issues of e-procurement approaches, the e-procurement toolkit, and the e-online learning, which are all available, the website provided. We also realized that under the Global Public Procurement Database, already 218 countries have their database available. I don't know where we are. I don't know whether our database is there or not for now. And yes, just like I said, I think this is the way for all of us to go if we are to all improve our systems. I'm glad that we are all within time. We have the next presentation on strategies for implementation of methodology for assessing procurement systems. To take us through this, we have Mr. Mukul Kumar. I realize they have the same surnames. I don't know whether they are related, but he's currently the Chief Procurement Coordinator for East Africa Region, a cluster of 13 countries for African Development Bank. Before 2018, he held the same position for Southern Region for 6 years. He has over 35 years of procurement, public procurement experience. He has a master's degree from the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology.
Let me put my clock also. Okay, distinguished dignitaries around the high table, my co-panelists and learned participants to this forum. Even I was sort of observing this, that having 2 commas, one after another, must be a surprise to everyone around here. Anjali, I must confess that, but we are working into different institutions. In terms of the world GDP, is spent using the public procurement systems. Globally, nearly 10 to 11 trillion dollars are spent using the public procurement system. If we just take the Africa as an example, where we have, let's say, 2.5 trillion GDP, we're talking about almost $500 billion of public procurement. So given that kind of an importance, I think it's very important that it's relevant also that we should look at the health of the public procurement system. It's also being said that when in the public procurement, up to 20 to 25% of the money is wasted, not only because of the corruption, but maybe because of the inefficiencies, poor systems. So quantitatively, I mean, these are the numbers which really sort of causes a concern. But besides that also, if you look at it in the qualitative terms, now the public procurement is basically a tool in the hands of the governments to convert their intent into the tangible deliverables, whether it's surveys or goods or works. And it can cause a major embarrassment, loss of credibility, and in some extreme cases it would result into riots and civil wars also. So it's very, very important that we need to know how good a public procurement system in that country is. With this as a background, my presentation is not very sort of long. I would try to abide by the time limit which has been given to me. Now, I mentioned about some statistics. There are some more here. For example, if you look at it in Asia, 20% of the GDP is spent through the public procurement. We're talking about the Middle East and North Africa region, another 18%. If you look at the OECD countries, again, the numbers are quite substantial. In Africa, 15%, it could be more than 15% in fact, I believe. Now also, if you look at in terms of the sectors, public procurement, the way it impacts the public delivery system in different sectors, there are two numbers for us to keep sort of in mind or take note of. Now, why and what is MAPS? As I said that if so much money is passing through public procurement system and we have so much sort of worry in terms of whether they are being efficiently, we need to know the existing and come up with the latest version. So
that was in two phases.
As much as you do the maps, then also build confidence that actually country systems can work.
But we have not left the potential tenders alone. For procuring entity, they are well known, their number, but we have a challenge reaching out to potential tenders. At the moment, we try to assist them through different channels. We have prepared some video clips and uploaded them in the portal where they can see the various steps on how to register and how to participate in the tender process. But also, for groups that are organized, we also conduct training. For example, even last week, we were in one of the regions conducting training for suppliers. This is because the suppliers we were targeting were organized in that particular region, so we were able even to invite them after we obtained their telephone numbers in that particular region. So we were able to send a bulk SMS to invite all of them in one of the regions called Iringa, and we were able to conduct the training. So we are actually not leaving them behind. We use other means to reach out to them, and once we are done with procuring entity, then all our efforts will be directed to the potential tenders, meaning the suppliers, the contractors, and the consultants. And there are some procuring entity, in fact, who are requesting tailor-made training. For example, at the moment we have one procuring entity who wants, in addition to training them as procuring entity, they have also organized a number of contractors who normally works with them, so that we also train them so that they be able to participate in procurement process. Another question was on how the system is monitored in real time. Quite a number of monitoring strategy. First of all, we have a team ourselves, the support team, which always is on the alert to check the status of the system. The system currently is under warrant, so we have provided a dedicated link to the vendor who monitors the system 24/7, especially at the application level. And we also have deployed the system at the e-government agents data center, one of the government agents. So at that level, at the network level, they also have security operation center, SOC, which monitors the system at the network level 24/7. And any downtime is can be detected and communicated to the relevant team, and the necessary interventions are done to make sure that we do not have a downtime that may affect the operation of the system. So far, so good. We have not had alarming downtime of the system. What mechanism works? I think the other question was for Mr. Kumar. I'm going to, maybe let me finish mine. Yeah, from Benson, the cost of the system. As I said, we have a number of modules. We have the registration modules, the e-tendering modules, the e-contract modules, the e-catalog modules, which were implemented by that particular vendor. The total cost for development is $1.4 million, 1.4, to cover all those modules and also all the equipment for the system, meaning computer servers that have been deployed at the primary site, as well as computer servers at the secondary site. It also involved the design of the system and also the development of the actual application software. As part of the cost of the system, although it was not part of the, initially it was part of the original contract, but later on it was removed, is the maintenance cost, the routine maintenance cost, which amounts to $438,000 for a period of 4 years, which averages to $109,000 per year. So that is the cost of maintaining the system, the normal recurrent maintenance works. But as I said in my presentation, for the change requests, then that should be a separate arrangement. But in the support and maintenance contract that we've arranged with the vendor, we have also made some provisions for various changes to the system so that they can be implemented within the same frame of the contract. And the estimate, as I say, is around $50,000 to $75,000 per year. Yeah. I think the last question relates to this from Mary, Malawi. She was shocked on the number of bids that are under evaluation. As far as we know, it's not a system bugs. Yes, we have some issues here and there on the system, but why there is a big number of tenders that are under evaluation stage, as far as we know, it's not a system issue. Because although the process is done online, it takes a person to go and do certain action on the system. So it could be the delays of the people who are supposed to do certain action in the system. But it gives us some basis, even when we start enforcing the system, because everything is properly recorded in the system. So it gives us some basis to ask them why this stage of the procurement took so long, while the tender was already opened, why evaluation takes so long. Because as I said, there are committees which have to do the evaluation and conclude the evaluation within the system. So if they don't conclude, then it is not a system issue, it is still a people issue. And the good news is that you can identify exactly who has delayed the process. Regarding the fees for the suppliers, this fee is for all the potential tenderers, if I may call, meaning suppliers, consultants, and contractors at the moment. And it is not $30, it is 30,000 Tanzanian shillings, which is about $13 a year. That is the annual fee, the fee that enables you to access the system. But during the actual participation in the tender, there is another fee that we have to pay, at the moment set at the same amount, 30,000 Tanzanian shillings. I think that's it.
I understand the question was regarding how successful the e-procurement systems in different countries has been found. That is your question, Mr. Juma, I think. Basically, no global data. Different countries who have implemented have been publishing their report regarding what are the benefits, how it brought efficiency or economy and saving the cost, etc. Global data is still being collected, and if you see the country profile in a global public procurement database, one of the things is the e-procurement system. So once it is launched in January next year, we hope that we'll start getting some information globally in that respect. Thanks. One more, just to add regarding Mary's question of pending evaluation. My guess is, because 1.5 months when I went to the website, it was only 183 bits advertised. Now it is 700. So I think those are the recent cases. So in normal course, they'll be under evaluation at this stage. So that might be perhaps a reason. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To my colleague DG PPDA, I do take his comment seriously, because for us, the ADB, Uganda is one of the very important clients in the East region. I also want to sort of make a statement that post 2016 for ADB, borrower procurement system is a default option. We have to indicate in our reports as to why are we not using a borrower procurement system. The third thing I want to say is that we have done some assessment using our own internal procedures, and as we start moving, and I think, I hope the DG would not take this as a criticism, we get worried at the number of whistleblower reports which you receive. And that's a fact. That in the region, and I have worked in southern region also, the number of complaints, particularly on the whistleblower side, are extremely large for your, let's say, portfolio. And that's where a certain amount of cautious approach is what the ADB has to adopt. But I take this point, and I can assure you that in the last 1.5 years, ever since I have moved to this region, I'm focusing on this. In fact, as we speak, the last 3 days, we were conducting a fiduciary clinic in Kampala. Unfortunately, I could not go because of the competing commitments, but my team was there. In fact, they were training people, they were talking about the rules and procedures and the things of that sort. But yes, I have taken this as a carry home for me, and I'll work with you on that. Thank you.
Can I just add on that one? I think there is a misconception that World Bank is more liberal or FDB is not liberal. It depends on country. In Malawi, the World Bank, we follow the World Bank procedures. And FDB, they have done their own assessment, and they are allowing for all the types of cases. So it depends. There is nothing like comparing these two agencies that one is more or another. It depends on the matter of the fact of that particular country, or the circumstances he explained why in that case FDB is taking a cautious step. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being very attentive. Thank you to the Secretariat for according me this opportunity to chair session 4, and congratulations to my very able presenters for taking that short time we gave them to present e-procurement in very few words. I think looking at those presentations, you all needed at least a day each for each of them. Before I give it back to our moderator, initially we saw so many people had too many questions. I think they would be happy to receive any of these questions at the sidelines as we're having lunch or towards tomorrow. Thank you very much. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Maybe before I even ask for applause to this good team here, I might give an experience of myself getting into e-procurement processes. Registered myself in the TANEPs. I was just informed by one of the procuring entities, which I do provide my specialized services, that I have to register, otherwise I might not be able to see any of the tenders. So I was wondering, I tried to log in and try to register. It was not that straightforward, but I took an initiative of visiting the PPRA office in Dar es Salaam, went there physically and sat down with one of the staff, went through, and I was registered. We were registered, our firm, and that was it. But when I went back to the office 2 days later, I couldn't log in again. But the good thing, as he says, there is the hotline, they say, which is the support. And I rang, and I was given the support. Eventually I managed. So it is practical, but it needs sensitization to most of the service providers who might not be knowing what is happening. That has to be done in a manner which will be more effective. Thank you very much. Can we give them a hand of applause, please, for the colleagues? As the chairperson has said, maybe each of them required a full day to make us understand what actually is happening. Okay, guys, well, thank you again, Madam, for chairing this session very well. We will now break for lunch. Well, let's aim at making our lunch break 45 minutes. Come back here at 2:30. Those who had attended the cocktail party yesterday, that's the area where we'll be having our lunch. But there is a shorter way to go to that area from this place. And he will guide us. He will guide us, and as we follow him, we can always reach the place. Please don't leave your phones. You can leave the other items, the laptops, everything, but not the phones. They are mobile too, They can be mobile. And asante sana, bon appetit. Elia chakula. Sawa, bene,